Captain Jake Morrison sat in his chair on the bridge of the UES Liberty. The ship was quiet except for the soft hum of the engines. Jake looked out at the stars through the big window in front of him. They were moving faster than any human ship had ever moved before. "Captain," said Lieutenant Amy Walsh from her seat at the navigation controls, "we are getting close to the test zone. Should I slow us down?" Jake nodded. "Yes, bring us to normal speed. Let's see how well this new drive system worked." The UES Liberty was special. It was the first human ship to use the new quantum drive. Scientists on Earth had worked for 10 years to build it. Jake and his crew were testing it for the first time in deep space. Dr. Ben Carter looked up from his science station. His face showed worry. "Captain, I am seeing something strange on my sensors. We are not where we should be." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. He got up from his chair and walked over to Ben's station. Ben pointed at his screen. "According to these readings, we traveled much farther than we planned. We are in a part of space that Earth has never explored before." Amy checked her navigation computer. Her eyes went wide. "The doctor is right, Captain. We are at least 50 light-years away from where we should be. The quantum drive worked too well." Jake felt his heart beat faster. This was not good. They were supposed to stay close to Earth for their first test. Now they were lost in unknown space with only a small crew. "How long will it take us to get back home?" Jake asked. Amy worked on her computer for several minutes. "If we use the quantum drive again, maybe 6 hours. But Captain, I am not sure it is safe. We don't know why it took us so far." Before Jake could answer, Sergeant Lisa Brown's voice came over the ship's communication system. "Captain, please come to the security station. We have a problem." Jake hurried to where Lisa was watching the ship's defense screens. She was a tough woman who had been a Marine for 15 years. If she was worried, then there was real danger. "What is it, Sergeant?" Jake asked. Lisa pointed at her screen. "We have company, Captain. 3 ships are coming toward us fast. They are not human ships." Jake's blood went cold. First contact with alien life was supposed to happen slowly and carefully. There were rules and procedures. This was not how it was supposed to be. "How far away are they?" Jake asked. "About 2 million kilometers and closing fast," Lisa said. "They will be here in 20 minutes. Jake ran back to the bridge. "Amy, get us out of here. Use the quantum drive." Amy's fingers moved quickly over her controls. Then she stopped and looked at Jake with fear in her eyes. "Captain, the drive is not ready. It needs 2 hours to charge up again." Dr. Carter was looking at his sensors. "Captain, I am getting more information about those ships. They are bigger than us, much bigger, and they have weapons." Jake felt trapped. They could not run and they could not fight. The UES Liberty was an exploration ship, not a warship. It had only basic defenses. "Try to contact them," Jake said. "Maybe we can talk to them." Amy worked on the communication system. After a few minutes, she got a signal through. "Captain, they are responding, but I cannot understand their language." "Put it on the main speakers," Jake said. Strange sounds filled the bridge. It sounded like growling mixed with electronic noises. The alien voices sounded angry. Dr. Carter was still watching his sensors. "Captain, the ships are splitting up. They are trying to surround us." Jake made a decision. "Amy, take us toward that asteroid field over there. Maybe we can hide." "Yes, Captain," Amy said. She pushed the ship's engines to full power. The UES Liberty shot forward like a bullet. Jake was pushed back in his chair by the sudden speed. He looked at the speed display and could not believe what he saw. "Amy, how fast are we going?" he asked. Amy checked her instruments twice before answering. "0.8 light speed, Captain, and we are still speeding up." This was impossible. Normal human ships could only go 0.2 light speed without the quantum drive. But the UES Liberty was moving 4 times faster than that. Dr. Carter was excited now instead of scared. "Captain, I think the quantum drive changed something in our regular engines. We are much faster than we should be." On the defense screen, Lisa watched the alien ships trying to follow them. "Captain, they are falling behind. Their ships cannot keep up with us." Jake felt amazed. The alien ships had looked so big and dangerous. but now they seemed slow and clumsy compared to the Liberty. The three alien ships gave up the chase after 10 minutes. They stopped and just watched as the human ship disappeared into the asteroid field. "Captain," Dr. Carter said quietly, "I think we just made history. We are the first humans to meet aliens, and we outran them easily." Jake nodded, but he was thinking about what this meant. If these aliens had big warships and still could not catch one human exploration ship, what did that say about human technology? "Set course for Earth," Jake said. "We need to report this right away." As the UES Liberty headed home, Jake looked out at the stars again. Everything had changed in just one day. Humans were no longer alone in the universe, and it seemed like human ships were faster than alien ships. He wondered what Earth's leaders would do with this information. He also wondered if those aliens would try to find Earth. Jake did not know that his ship had just scared the most powerful empire in the galaxy. He did not know that right now, alien leaders were calling emergency meetings because of what his ship had done. The UES Liberty flew through space toward home, carrying news that would change everything. On the planet Nexus Prime, Emperor Kyloth sat on his golden throne in the Great Hall. The hall was huge, with walls that went up so high they seemed to touch the clouds. Hundreds of his advisors stood in neat rows before him. The Emperor was old, even for a Zephyrian. His skin was blue-gray like all his people, but his was darker with age. His forearms moved nervously as he read the report that had just arrived. "Tell me again what happened," the Emperor said to Admiral Vextar, who was kneeling before the throne. Admiral Vextar was scared. He had never seen the Emperor this angry. "Your Majesty, our patrol ships found an unknown vessel in Sector 7. When they tried to stop it, the ship moved faster than anything we have ever seen." "How fast?" the Emperor asked. "0.8 light speed, Your Majesty, without using any jump drive that our sensors could detect." The Emperor's four hands clenched into fists. For 1,000 years, the Zephyrian Empire had ruled this part of the galaxy. They ruled because their ships were faster and their weapons were stronger than everyone else's. Now there was a ship that made their best vessels look slow. "What species was it?" the Emperor demanded. "We do not know, Your Majesty. They tried to communicate with us, but we could not understand their language. Our computers are still working on it." Intelligence Director Rathmos stepped forward. He was younger than the Admiral, with bright yellow eyes that never seemed to blink. "Your Majesty, we have some information about the ship's design. It does not match any known species in our database." "Show me," the Emperor said. Rathmos activated a hologram projector. A three-dimensional image of the UES Liberty appeared in the air above them. The ship looked small and simple compared to Zephyrian warships. "This is what our sensors recorded," Rathmos said. "The ship is only 300 meters long. It has no visible weapons. But, Your Majesty, it moved like nothing we have ever seen." The Emperor studied the image. "It looks weak. How can something so small be so fast?" "We do not know, Your Majesty," Rathmos admitted. "But there is something else. We detected strange energy readings from the ship. Our scientists think it might be using a completely new type of engine." The Emperor was quiet for a long time. All around the hall, his advisors waited nervously. Finally, he spoke. "Bring me General Webb." The advisors looked surprised. General Marcus Webb was the only human in the Empire. He had been captured 5 years ago when his small exploration ship had engine problems near Zephyrian space. Instead of killing him, the Emperor had made him a slave and forced him to work for the military. 2 guards brought Webb into the hall. He was a tall man with gray hair and serious eyes. His hands were chained, but he walked with his head up. He did not look afraid, even standing before the most powerful being in the galaxy. "General Webb," the Emperor said, "you are human, yes?" "Yes, Your Majesty," Webb answered. His voice was calm and steady. "Tell me about human ships." Webb thought carefully before answering. He knew this was important, but he was not sure why. "Human ships are built for exploration, Your Majesty. We are curious about what is out there in space." "How fast are your ships?" the Emperor asked. Webb smiled a little. That depends, Your Majesty. Our older ships are not very fast, but our newer ones... He paused. Our newer ones are quite advanced. This was not completely true. Webb had been captured 5 years ago, so he did not know about the new quantum drive, but he could guess that human technology had improved since then. How advanced? Rathmos asked, stepping closer. Webb looked at the intelligence director. Advanced enough. The Emperor leaned forward on his throne. General Webb, one of your ships was spotted in our space yesterday. It moved faster than our best vessels. Explain this. Webb felt his heart jump, but he kept his face calm. A human ship had been found in Zephyrian space? That meant Earth was finally exploring beyond their own solar system. But if the ship was faster than Zephyrian vessels, that was incredible news. Your Majesty, Webb said slowly, I have been your prisoner for 5 years. I do not know what new ships Earth has built since then. Guess, the Emperor demanded. Webb pretended to think. Then he said, Earth has many smart scientists. If they have had 5 years to work on new engines, they might have made something very fast indeed. How fast? Admiral Vextar asked. Webb looked around the hall. All eyes were on him. He made a decision that would change everything. Faster than you can imagine, he said quietly. The Emperor's advisors began talking among themselves. Their voices grew louder and more worried. The Emperor raised one of his hands for silence. General Webb, the Emperor said, how many ships like this do the humans have? Webb had no idea, but he decided to make the Zephyrians as scared as possible. Your Majesty, when I left Earth, they were building a whole fleet of new ships. That was 5 years ago. This was a lie. When Webb had left Earth, humans barely had any spaceships at all. But the Emperor did not know that. A whole fleet? Rathmos asked, his yellow eyes wide. Yes, Webb said. Earth takes exploration very seriously. The Emperor stood up from his throne. He was almost 3 meters tall, much bigger than Webb. General Webb, are the humans planning to invade our territory? Webb shook his head. Your Majesty, humans are explorers, not conquerors, but... He paused for effect. If someone attacks them, they will defend themselves. The Emperor began pacing back and forth. His advisors watched, nervously. They had never seen him this upset. Your Majesty, Admiral Vextar said carefully, what are your orders? The Emperor stopped pacing. Send messages to all fleet commanders. I want every available ship moved to the border sectors. If these humans want to explore our space, they will find our entire military waiting for them. Your Majesty, Rathmos said, should we try to make contact with their government? Perhaps we can negotiate. The Emperor's eyes flashed with anger. For 1,000 years, no one has challenged Zephyrian power. I will not let some unknown species change that now. He pointed at Admiral Vexitar. Prepare for war. As the advisors hurried to carry out the Emperor's orders, Webb was led back to his cell. But inside, he was smiling. He had just convinced the most powerful empire in the galaxy that Earth was a major threat. Webb did not know that he had told the truth by accident. The UES Liberty really was faster than Zephyrian ships. Much faster. And Earth really was building more ships with the same technology. The Zephyrian Empire was about to discover that sometimes the biggest threats come in small packages. Admiral Kate Phillips stood in the command center on Earth, looking at the big screen that showed the solar system. She was a tall woman with short brown hair and sharp green eyes. She had been in charge of Earth's space defense for 10 years. The command center was busy with activity. Officers were talking on radios and working at computer stations. Everyone was excited because the UES Liberty had just returned with incredible news. President John Taylor walked into the room. He was an older man with gray hair and a worried expression. Behind him came Dr. Helen Park, Earth's top expert on alien life forms. She carried a thick folder full of papers. Admiral Phillips, the president said, I just finished reading Captain Morrison's report. Is it really true? Did we make contact with aliens? Yes, Mr. President, Admiral Phillips replied. And according to the sensor data, our ship was much faster than theirs. Dr. Park opened her folder and pulled out some pictures. These are the images the Liberty took of the alien ships. They appear to be warships, much larger than our exploration vessel. President Taylor studied the pictures. The alien ships looked dangerous, with many weapons and thick armor. How many ships were there? 3 that we know of, Admiral Phillips said. But Captain Morrison thinks there might be more in that area of space. The president sat down heavily in a chair. This changes everything. We are not alone in the universe, and we've apparently stumbled into someone else's territory. Dr. Park was excited despite the serious situation. Mr. President, this is the greatest discovery in human history. We have proof that intelligent alien life exists. Yes, the president said slowly. But are they friendly? Admiral Phillips looked at the tactical display. According to Captain Morrison, they tried to surround his ship. That sounds like hostile behavior to me. Just then, a young officer ran up to them. Admiral, we're getting a priority message from the UES Liberty. Captain Morrison wants to speak with you immediately. Put him on the main screen, Admiral Phillips ordered. Captain Morrison's face appeared on the big screen. He looked tired but excited. Admiral, we've discovered something important about our quantum drive. What is it, Captain? She asked. The drive didn't just move us through space faster than we expected. It also changed our regular engines somehow. Dr. Carter thinks the quantum energy made all our systems more efficient. Dr. Park leaned forward. What does that mean exactly? It means the Liberty can now travel at 0.8 light speed using just normal engines. That's 4 times faster than any ship has ever gone before. Everyone in the command center went quiet. This was incredible news. President Taylor found his voice first. Captain, how long would it take to upgrade other ships with this technology? Dr. Carter estimates about 6 months to retrofit our existing fleet. But Mr. President, we could build new ships with the improvements from the start. Those would be even faster. Admiral Phillips was already thinking about military uses. Captain, could these improvements be put on warships? Yes, Admiral. In fact, Dr. Carter thinks military ships would benefit even more because they have more powerful engines to begin with. The president stood up and began pacing. Admiral, how long would it take to build a proper diplomatic mission to make contact with these aliens? 2 weeks to prepare the UES Harmony for a diplomatic mission. But Mr. President, I strongly recommend sending an escort. What kind of escort? The president asked. The UES Defiant is our newest military ship. If we upgrade it with the quantum improvements, it could protect the diplomatic vessel. Dr. Park was taking notes. Mr. President, we should also prepare a team of linguists and anthropologists. We need to learn their language and understand their culture. President Taylor nodded. Do it. But I want this mission to be peaceful. We're not going there to fight. Captain Morrison spoke from the screen. Mr. President, there's something else you should know. When those alien ships chased us, they seemed surprised by our speed. I think they've never seen anything like our technology before. What are you saying, Captain? Admiral Phillips asked. I'm saying that maybe we're more advanced than they are. Maybe a lot more advanced. This thought had not occurred to anyone before. Earth had always assumed that if they met aliens, the aliens would be more advanced than humans. Dr. Park was excited again. Captain, did you get any readings on their technology? Yes, Dr. Carter analyzed their engine signatures. He thinks their ships are using nuclear fusion drives. That's technology we stopped using 50 years ago. Admiral Phillips felt a chill run down her spine. Captain, are you telling us that our primitive human technology is actually superior to an alien spacefaring civilization? That's exactly what I'm saying, Admiral. President Taylor sat down again. This changed everything they had planned. If human technology was superior, then they needed to be very careful about how they revealed their capabilities. Admiral, the President said, I want you to prepare 3 ships for the diplomatic mission. The Harmony for diplomacy, the Defiant for protection, and... He paused. And 1 more ship with our best scientists. We need to understand exactly how advanced we are compared to them. Yes, Mr. President. Which ship should I assign for the science mission? The UES Discovery. It has the best sensor equipment we have. Dr. Park was already making plans. Mr. President, I recommend we be very careful about what technology we show them. If we really are more advanced, we don't want to frighten them. Agreed, the President said. But we also don't want to appear weak. Admiral Phillips was looking at star charts. Mr. President, there's another consideration. If this alien civilization has many ships and controls a large area of space, they might see us as a threat regardless of our intentions. What do you mean? The President asked. I mean that sometimes superior technology can cause fear, and fear can lead to war. The room went quiet as everyone thought about this possibility. Captain Morrison spoke from the screen again. Mr. President, I have a suggestion. What is it, Captain? Let me take the Liberty back to where we encountered them. I'll try to establish communication before the diplomatic mission arrives. Maybe I can convince them that we come in peace. President Taylor thought about this. That's very dangerous, Captain. You'd be going alone into potentially hostile territory. Mr. President, if war starts between Earth and this alien empire, millions of people could die. That's worth the risk. Admiral Phillips admired the captain's courage, but she was worried. Captain, if something happens to you, we might never know what went wrong. That's a risk we have to take, Admiral. President Taylor made his decision. Captain Morrison, I'm authorizing your mission, but I want you to take Lieutenant Commander Sam Rivers with you. He's the best pilot we have, and his ship, the UES Defiant, will be ready with the quantum upgrades in 1 week. Thank you, Mr. President, Captain Morrison said. We won't let you down. As the screen went dark, President Taylor looked around the command center. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to take humanity's first steps onto the galactic stage. Let's make sure we do it right. Outside the command center, Earth continued to spin peacefully around the sun. But everything was different now. Humans were no longer alone in the universe, and they were about to discover just how special their little planet really was. Captain Ryan Brooks stood on the bridge of the UES Harmony, watching the stars through the main window. The Harmony was Earth's first ship built just for talking to aliens. It had no weapons, only communication equipment and translation computers. Captain, said his communication officer, Lieutenant Tony Garcia, we're getting close to the meeting point. The Liberty and Defiant should be here soon. Captain Brooks nodded. He was nervous but excited. In a few hours, he would try to make the first peaceful contact between humans and aliens. If he succeeded, it could mean friendship between two species. If he failed, it could mean war. Any sign of alien ships? Brooks asked. Not yet, Captain, replied Ensign Mary Johnson from the sensor station. But I'm detecting some strange energy readings about 10 light years away. Something big is moving in our direction. Before Brooks could respond, 2 flashes of light appeared nearby. The UES Liberty and UES Defiant dropped out of quantum speed and took positions near the Harmony. Captain Brooks, came Jake Morrison's voice over the radio. This is Captain Morrison. Are you ready to make history? As ready as we'll ever be, Jake, Brooks replied. Any sign of our alien friends? Commander Sam Rivers spoke from the Defiant. Captain Brooks, my sensors are picking up a large group of ships heading this way. I count at least 50 vessels, maybe more. Brooks felt his heart skip a beat. 50 ships? I thought we were just meeting the 3 ships that found the Liberty. So did I, Morrison said grimly. It looks like they brought friends. On the bridge of the UES Defiant, Commander Rivers was studying his tactical display. He was a young man with black hair and quick reflexes. He had been chosen to command the Defiant because he was the best combat pilot in Earth's fleet. Captain Brooks, Rivers said, those ships are definitely military vessels, big ones. This doesn't look like a peaceful meeting. Major Alex Stone, the Marine commander aboard the Defiant, checked his weapons systems. Commander, all defense systems are ready, but 50 ships against 3 is not good odds. Rivers looked at the approaching alien fleet. Each enemy ship was 3 times larger than the Defiant, but he remembered what they had learned about human technology being superior. Major, I don't think we'll need good odds, Rivers said with a small smile. Meanwhile, on the bridge of Admiral Vextar's flagship, the alien commander was feeling confident. He had brought the largest battle fleet in Zephyrian history to deal with the human threat. Admiral, said his tactical officer, we have found 3 human ships waiting for us. They appear to be small vessels, just like the one we encountered before. Admiral Vextar looked at his display screen. The human ships looked tiny compared to his massive warships. Only 3 ships? Are they insane? Perhaps they do not understand our power, suggested the tactical officer. Then we will teach them, the admiral said coldly. All ships, prepare for attack. We will destroy these humans quickly, and then find their home world. Back on the Harmony, Captain Brooks was trying to establish communication with the approaching fleet. This is Captain Ryan Brooks of the Earth vessel Harmony, he broadcast on all frequencies. We come in peace and wish to establish diplomatic relations with your people. The response came quickly, but it was not words. It was weapons fire. Bright energy beams shot through space toward the 3 human ships. The beams were powerful enough to destroy most spacecraft with a single hit. But something amazing happened. The energy beams hit the human ships and simply bounced off harmlessly. The ship's shields absorbed the attacks without any damage at all. What the hell was that? Major Stone asked from the Defiant. That, Commander Rivers said calmly, was them trying to kill us. Captain Morrison's voice came over the radio. All ships, it looks like they're not interested in talking. Captain Brooks, get the Harmony to a safe distance. Commander Rivers, I think it's time to show them what human ships can really do. With pleasure, Captain, Rivers replied. The UES Defiant suddenly shot forward at incredible speed. It moved so fast that the alien sensors could barely track it. In seconds, it was in the middle of the enemy fleet. Admiral Vextar watched in shock as the small human ship appeared among his vessels. How did it move so fast? Fire all weapons. Dozens of Zephyrian ships opened fire at once. The space around the Defiant filled with energy beams and missiles, but the human ship moved like a dancer, avoiding every attack with ease. Then the Defiant began to fight back, but instead of destroying the alien ships, it did something unexpected. Blue energy beams shot out from the human ship and hit the alien vessels. One by one, the Zephyrian ships simply stopped moving. Admiral, shouted the tactical officer, the humans are disabling our ships. Their weapons are shutting down our engines and weapons, but they're not destroying us. Admiral Vextar could not believe what he was seeing. His mighty fleet was being defeated by a single small ship, and the humans were not even trying to kill them. Meanwhile, the UES Liberty had moved to protect the Harmony. Captain Morrison watched as the Defiant continued to disable enemy ships with surgical precision. Jake, Commander Rivers said over the radio, I've shut down 30 ships so far. How many more do you want me to disable? All of them, Sam, Morrison replied. But leave the Admiral's flagship for last. I want to have a conversation with their commander. Within 20 minutes, the entire Zephyrian fleet was floating helplessly in space. Their engines were dead, their weapons were offline, but their crews were unharmed. Captain Brooks brought the Harmony closer to the alien flagship. Admiral Vextar, he broadcast. This is Captain Brooks. Your fleet has been disabled, but your crews are safe. We still wish to talk. On the Zephyrian flagship, Admiral Vextar stared at his dead control panels. His mighty fleet had been defeated without a single ship being destroyed. The humans had won the battle without killing anyone. They could have destroyed us all, he whispered to his tactical officer, but they chose not to. The tactical officer was equally amazed. Admiral, their technology is far beyond ours. That one ship defeated our entire fleet. Admiral Vextar realized that everything the Empire believed about their military superiority was wrong. These humans had technology that made Zephyrian ships look like toys, but more importantly, the humans had shown mercy. They could have killed thousands of Zephyrian soldiers, but instead they had simply disabled the ships. Open a communication channel, Admiral Vextar ordered. I will speak with these humans. Captain Brooks smiled when he heard this. Admiral Vextar, thank you for agreeing to talk. We apologize for the misunderstanding. We came here to offer friendship between our peoples. Captain Brooks, the Admiral replied slowly. I think my people may have made a terrible mistake. We attacked you without cause. We understand, Admiral. Sometimes fear makes people do things they regret later. As the two commanders began to talk, something important was happening throughout Zephyrian space. Other species that had been conquered by the Empire were watching the battle through intercepted communications. For the first time in 1,000 years, they had seen the mighty Zephyrian fleet defeated, and they had seen it defeated by people who chose mercy over destruction. Word spread quickly through the galaxy that a new power had arrived, a power that was stronger than the Empire, but also more civilized. 2 hours after the battle ended, Captain Brooks and Admiral Vextar were talking face-to-face aboard the UES Harmony. The Zephyrian Admiral was tall and blue-skinned, with 4 arms and large yellow eyes. He looked around the human ship with amazement. Your technology is incredible, Admiral Vextar said through the translation device Dr. Carter had quickly built. How long has your species been traveling between stars? Captain Brooks smiled. Actually, Admiral, we only started exploring outside our solar system a few years ago. The ship that first encountered your patrol was on its very first deep space mission. Admiral Vextar's 4 eyes went wide. Impossible. Your ships are more advanced than anything in the galaxy. You must have been spacefaring for thousands of years. No, Brooks said gently. We're very new to this. We had no idea there were other intelligent species out here until last week. The Admiral sat down heavily in his chair. Then how do you have such powerful technology? Dr. Ben Carter, who had come aboard from the Liberty, answered this question. Admiral, we developed our quantum drive by accident while trying to solve a different problem. Sometimes the best discoveries happen when you're not looking for them. Meanwhile, on the planet Nexus Prime, Emperor Kyloth was receiving reports from the battle. His advisors stood around him in shocked silence as he read the details. 50 ships, the Emperor said slowly. They defeated 50 of our best ships with just 3 vessels, and they did not destroy a single one. Intelligence Director Rathmos was pale with fear. Your Majesty, this changes everything. These humans are not just technologically superior. They are also... He paused, searching for the right word. Civilized. What do you mean? The Emperor demanded. Your Majesty, they could have destroyed our entire fleet and killed thousands of our people. Instead, they disabled the ships and kept everyone alive. Then they asked to talk. The Emperor was quiet for a long time. In his 1,000 years of rule, he had conquered dozens of species by force. He had never shown mercy to his enemies, but these humans had shown mercy to his people. Your Majesty, said General Webb's voice from the back of the room. The Emperor turned to see that Webb had been brought to the throne room again, but this time, the human was not in chains. General Webb, the Emperor said, it appears your people are even more powerful than you claimed. Webb nodded. Yes, Your Majesty. But more importantly, they are good people. They don't want to conquer anyone. They just want to explore and learn. Then why did they defeat our fleet? The Emperor asked. Because your fleet attacked them first, Webb said simply. Humans will defend themselves if necessary, but they prefer peace. As they spoke, something was happening throughout the Zephyrian Empire. Species that had been conquered and oppressed for centuries were starting to rebel. They had seen the mighty Zephyrian fleet defeated, and they believed that freedom might be possible. On the planet Kepler, the cat-like Felinians were destroying Zephyrian government buildings. On Tau Station, the crystalline miners were refusing to work in the quantum caves. Across dozens of worlds, the Empire's subjects were rising up. Back aboard the Harmony, Admiral Vextar was receiving emergency messages from all over the Empire. His communication officer looked terrified as he delivered each new report. Admiral, the officer said, rebellions are breaking out everywhere. The subject species think the Empire has fallen. Admiral Vextar looked at Captain Brooks. Captain, my Empire is collapsing because of what happened here today. Brooks felt bad for the Admiral. I'm sorry, Admiral. We didn't want to cause problems for your people. No, Admiral Vexiter said, surprising everyone. Perhaps it is time for the Empire to end. We have ruled through fear and force for too long. Dr. Carter leaned forward. Admiral, what if there was another way? What if instead of an empire built on conquest, there could be a federation built on cooperation? What do you mean? The Admiral asked. Captain Brooks explained. On Earth, we learned that different nations can work together without one ruling over the others. Each keeps their independence, but they help each other when needed. Admiral Vextar thought about this idea. You would help us create such a system? If you want our help, yes, Brooks said. But it would mean giving up the idea of ruling over other species. The Admiral was quiet for several minutes. Then he made a decision that would change galactic history. Captain Brooks, I formally surrender the Zephyrian fleet to you, not because you defeated us, but because I believe your way is better than ours. Brooks was shocked. Admiral, we don't want to rule over anyone. We just want to be friends. Then teach us how to be friends instead of conquerors, the Admiral said. Over the next few hours, Captain Morrison sent a message that was broadcast throughout the galaxy. It was translated into hundreds of languages and reached every inhabited world in the sector. This is Captain Jake Morrison of Earth, the message began. We are new to this galaxy and we come in peace. We have seen that there has been much conflict here, with some species ruling over others through force. The message continued. Earth offers a different path. We believe that all intelligent species should be free to choose their own destiny. We offer our friendship and our help to any world that wants to live in peace. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Within days, dozens of species sent messages to Earth asking for help in becoming independent. The Zephyrian Empire began to break apart, but instead of chaos, something beautiful started to emerge. Admiral Vextar worked with Captain Brooks to establish the Galactic Cooperation Council. Each species would have an equal voice regardless of their military strength or technology level. Disputes would be settled through discussion, not warfare. General Webb was finally freed and became Earth's first ambassador to the new council. His years as a prisoner had taught him much about the galaxy's politics, making him perfect for the job. Dr. Carter began sharing human medical technology with species that needed help. But he was careful to share only peaceful technologies that could save lives and improve living conditions. Commander Rivers and the UES Defiant became the prototype for a new kind of peacekeeping force. Ships that were powerful enough to stop wars, but designed to protect rather than conquer. 6 months later, Captain Morrison stood on the observation deck of the new space station that orbited Earth. Through the windows, he could see ships from dozens of different species coming and going peacefully. Lieutenant Amy Walsh joined him at the window. Captain, did you ever think that our little test flight would lead to all this? Morrison smiled. No, Amy. I thought we were just testing a new engine. I never imagined we'd end up changing the galaxy. Do you think it will last? Amy asked. This peace we've helped create? Morrison thought about this carefully. I think it has a good chance. When people see that cooperation works better than conquest, they tend to keep doing it. As they watched, a Zephyrian ship docked at the station next to a Felinian vessel. The crews from both ships worked together to unload supplies for a joint scientific mission. You know what the best part is? Morrison said. What's that, Captain? We proved that being the strongest doesn't mean you have to be the meanest. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is choose to be kind. Outside the station, ships from Earth continued to explore the galaxy. But now they traveled with friends from many worlds, sharing knowledge and discovery with everyone they met. The age of empire was over. The age of cooperation had begun. And it had all started with one human ship that moved faster than anyone expected. Emperor Kyloth eventually stepped down from his throne and joined the Galactic Council as an equal representative of his people. He spent his remaining years helping to repair the damage his empire had caused. The galaxy was still vast and full of mysteries, but now those mysteries would be explored together by species working side by side toward a better future for all. And whenever young humans asked how their small planet had become so important in galactic affairs, the answer was always the same. Sometimes the greatest victories come not from being the fastest or the strongest, but from choosing to use your strength to help others rather than hurt them.